Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
everyone. Happy
Go ahead,
Travel
Elizabeth.
Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. Elizabeth, how are you today? It is Travel Tuesday. I was actually supposed to be in a wonderful tropical destination this week, but as you can see from my background or not, I'm in my office.
I know, I am so sorry. I was so excited you were going to be joining us from down in the islands, and I was so excited to see the beautiful blue skies, palm trees, and everything else. So you had a bit of an issue. Even Brian, who's like a travel expert, can be affected by summer travel when things get so busy and hectic.
Absolutely. So, during the summer, we know there's a lot of storms that appear, especially in the Northeast, late day thunderstorms. Long story short, I was taking a group of travel advisors down to Aruba on a learning trip. There were about 10 of us going Monday morning, and Sunday afternoon, I got that text. Thankfully, the airline had my contact information, and they texted me saying my flight was canceled for Monday morning. And I looked for alternates. The first day that the airline could get us down to Aruba was Wednesday, meaning tomorrow, and we were coming back on Friday. So unfortunately, it didn't work. And it probably didn't work more so because we had a larger group going. If it was one or two people, probably other arrangements could have been made. But Elizabeth, this is what happens when the Northeast area, Boston, New York, the three airports in New York, Philadelphia, thunderstorms were in that area all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That cancels flights, and they're not in the right position for the next day. So our flight was not allowed to come into Buffalo on Sunday evening because of weather in New York, and it did get canceled. So you know what? I had a free calendar all week because I was going to be away, and my calendar is filling very quickly. So I'm back working really hard. But you know what? We're going to reschedule. But that just goes to show you have to be prepared. And thankfully, the airline gave us some advance notice in this case. If we all got to the airport and ready to go and couldn't get out for 3 days, that's a different story. So things do happen, but we all have to, again, I talk about patience. So work diligently to try and get us there. It did not work out. So here I am, and I'm looking at your beautiful pool in the background, thinking, gosh, I should be in a background like that right now.
Well, you should be, and then I'm sure Aruba is much better than this. However, I was working from home today, so I decided to step outside and show you the beautiful pool. Since it's a pretty decent pool day, we've had some mixed weather here too as well, but they say it's going to be even nicer out tomorrow.
Yeah, the weather at this time of year, sometimes these thunderstorms pop up, and it might be in the south towns, north towns. At this time of year, you really can never, plan specifically. So I always say, let's look outside, see what it's like. I wouldn't cancel many plans for outdoor activities because it is so sporadic and so spotty. So I'm looking forward to getting out in the nice weather later on today. But we got a lot of things going on in the world, right? And a lot of things going on here at AAA.
Yeah, we sure do. There's been a ton going on. Of course, I was on vacation last week. I joined you from the fishing boat that we were on. So that was pretty cool. So yesterday was my first day back. So that was the day full of going through emails and checking up on everything and following up. And that's still going into today, and then some meetings on the calendar. So I'm trying to get back into reality. But it's really hard coming off of a trip like that to get things going again. But there's been no shortage of a lot of activities going on. That's for sure.
Yeah, a lot going on in the news, a lot going on with, what we talk about here at AAA. And one of the things we wanted to talk about is EVs and renting EVs.
Yeah, so you see this regularly. Someone will go to rent a vehicle, and then you'll get a notification saying, hey, what about renting an EV? Would you consider an EV for your trip? So more and more of these car rental companies are offering EVs into their fleets. So we're seeing this on a regular ongoing basis. And it's an individual choice for the traveler if they want to give it a try or not.
Well, it absolutely is. And I will notice or mention, I should say, Elizabeth, that I rent cars frequently. And I have to tell you, Hertz specifically, although all of the companies do this, they offer EVs. And the price point on their EVs are much less than a regular gas vehicle. And so it is a great option. However, if you're renting a car maybe just for one day to travel, say, to Syracuse for work or go to Albany for the day, you have to be careful with that. So it may be a great price point, but if you're not going to be parked at your business where there is a charging station, you may want to reconsider that EV, because in the end, it's going to cost you more, although AAA does offer roadside assistance. But for a trip like that, it probably does not make the most sense. If you're going to go to a hotel or other areas where they do have those stations available, it does make much more sense.
Well, there have been several reports in the news lately saying how there are only about 25% of hotels out there are equipped with charging stations. So this is where AAA comes in as a helpful resource, because first of all, the AAA mobile app, you can find a gas station or an EV charging station based on your destination, no matter where you're traveling. But also planning ahead and using a triptych or those AAA digital tour books. The digital tour books are actually going to look, when you look up your hotel, they're going to list if there's an EV charging station on site at the hotel. So that's a really handy tool. And if there's not one right at your hotel, you'll be able to use the mobile app to find the closest one to you in your proximity. And, we keep seeing them more and more. A very handy tool to use, that good old fashioned triptych. It's modernized these days.
Well, you're absolutely right, Elizabeth. And when you really think about it, even in our area, and of course, we do have EV charging stations in our headquarters office as well. But when you even think of on Transit Road in Williamsville, at Key Bank, at Main and Transit, there's probably 8 or 9 charging stations in that parking lot. So there's many locations, and you're absolutely right. That electronic tour book is going to tell you exactly where those are. So that is a great, great feature.
Yeah, you want to make sure if you are trying out an EV, which a lot of people are thinking about doing, saying, you know what, I have a cheaper rate for my car rental and I'm considering buying an EV. So this is my chance to drive one. So a lot of people will say, I'm going away for the weekend, I'll try that. So that a lot of times is that fear of where am I going to charge or how is that going to work? So check out that mobile app. Very, very handy. And again, the triptych and the digital tour books too. And you can always learn more right at AAA.com/travel.
Yeah, there's so much information there. And, one last thing on those, people say, if you haven't driven one, they are a little bit different. So, make sure you just kind of maybe practice in the parking lot of the rental location or something, because not drastically different, but, without sound and engine noise and so forth, probably the acceleration's a little bit different as well. I personally haven't driven one, but that's what I hear.
One of the biggest surprises for people is how quiet they are. They don't even realize if the car is running or not.
Right.
So definitely an adjustment to get used to. So something you want to, again, try out. Like we always say, don't punch in your address and all that into the GPS while you're driving. Do all that in advance before you get on the road. So the same thing would go as far as getting that rental car. Either if it's EV or if it's an old fashioned, if you want to call it that, a regular gas powered vehicle, you want to make sure you know where the buttons are and where the cruise control is and all of that before you're out on the road trying to figure it out.
That is great advice, Elizabeth. Sync your phone, get your, radio set and all those things and the GPS going before you get out on the road, because that is just an accident waiting to happen if you're not set to go.
Right. And with so many people traveling, I know, just like I'm sending emails and I'm getting auto replies from people. A lot of people are on vacation. We're kind of in the thick of it right now. People trying to, get all those vacations in before it's time to do that back to school shopping and everything. So we want to remind people of some advice from our AAA insurance, telling people how to safeguard their home before they travel. So you want to make sure you make it difficult for anyone who might want to break into your home. They're going to go for the house that they can get in and out of the quickest. So you got to make it time consuming, and then maybe they'll leave you alone and go somewhere else. So that you're talking about locking everything up, doors and windows, maybe even getting an alarm on the home.
Well, absolutely. You're right, Elizabeth. And, really, when you think of it, if you have an alarm, that's great. I think it's a wonderful investment. However, I think an inexpensive investment is timers for your lights. And that's really easy to do. They're sold at any hardware store, Wegmans, anywhere. Get 2 or 3 timers and have lights go on and off during the evening and at nighttime. And so, it's not a pitch dark house, or it's not a house with lights on all the time. I mean, we always used to joke when outdoor lights are on, around the garage and the front door 24 hours a day. It's like, oh, those people are gone. So you pay attention to that. And, it does give potential burglars a second thought.
Yeah, you need to make it look like your home is inhabited. So, if you're posting on
Absolutely.
Facebook with public posts that anyone can see, hey, I'm leaving for the next 2 weeks. Can't wait. The entire family will be gone and the dog's going to a boarding kennel. Well, then people are going to say, oh, here's our chance. There's an opportunity here. And so you want to make sure you don't do that. Make it look like your house is inhabited. Maybe timers on the lights so they're going on and off, having your neighbor come over, get your mail, items like that. So it looks like you're still there. It won't be as inviting to those thieves.
Of course. And, again, we have neighbors that if they're traveling, they'll say, hey, if you want to park your car in my driveway, do so. So there's movement. It always looks a little bit different. If you're gone for an extended period, ask one of the neighbor kids to cut your lawn and so forth, just to make sure that it does. But, peace of mind, certainly with an alarm system, but, that may not be affordable for everybody, but there's other inexpensive ways to do it to make it look like someone is there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
And so we want everyone to stay safe, of course, when they're traveling and when they get back. You don't want to come back to a disappointment like that. And Brian, if people still haven't booked a getaway, there's some great deals out there to get a vacation on the books.
Well, there are. I mean, there's still plenty of destinations to travel this summer. Maybe some flexibility on dates, but there's plenty of destinations. One of the things I wanted to mention, Princess Cruises has a score for 24 with Princess Cruises. This is an offer that is available through the 5th of September with 7-day cruise fares from $399 with a 3rd and 4th guest sail free. So it is on select voyages, but that is a really great deal. You can't beat that. Princess does a great job, so many different destinations. So that is really, really exciting.
And Princess, you're going to have so much fun, so many activities on board. You might not plan ahead now for 2024.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. All the inclusions, all the excitement, entertainment, they have children's programs and so much more, and their destinations are worldwide. So again, check with the AAA Travel Advisor for the dates and availability where this promotion applies, but it is a great deal. Another one right now is with Rail Bookers, which is Amtrak Vacations, and Rail Bookers, which is rail up in Alaska, in Europe, and so forth. But you can save up to $500 per couple on any 10-night rail vacation package. And if you don't go 10 nights and stay less, you still have a savings. It's just not as great as $500 per person. So, Amtrak Vacations, Elizabeth, during the summer, so many people are taking advantage of that, traveling out west to the national parks, to the Grand Canyon. We have folks that, want to go up to Alaska, and they may not want that cruise experience. They might want to choose to do a land experience in Alaska, and Alaska Rail, this applies to that as well. And of course, in Europe, rail is one of the best forms of transportation within countries and in between countries as well. In Europe, it's like highways of railways in Europe. So there's a lot of opportunity, but great savings now. Those are continuing. That's on new bookings, continuing through the rest of July. There's actually no date end on that. So plan that vacation by rail as well.
Okay, it sounds like planes, trains, and automobiles. It's up to the individual traveler.
Absolutely. And then lastly, if you like guided vacations, our friends at Insight Vacations, Trafalgar, Brendan, and Cost Saver, they have up to 15% on select tours departing through March of 2024. So there you can plan that vacation in advance. And of course, Insight Vacations, Trafalgar, Brendan does Ireland. They're all guided vacations. So you know what that means, Elizabeth. They see the best of the best. They get all the entrances. They get to the front of the line when you're at the Vatican. All of those things are taken care of. No one's driving, so everyone can enjoy the scenery and the experience. So may want to talk to a travel advisor about that guided vacation experience.
Right. Plenty of free time to still explore on your own, yet having an expert guide right at your fingertips to show you everything so you don't miss all of those highlights.
Those are things you don't want to miss. You're right, Elizabeth. So I think Elizabeth froze, quite possibly.
Information with the airline so they can contact you. They have your contact information. They can let you know as soon as possible. But also that travel insurance. You don't want to travel without that these days.
So travel insurance is really important, and the insurance companies, when you purchase a policy, they have your flight information. So, for example, when my flight was canceled, they had the notification on the insurance app as well. And depending on the situation, that covers whether it is a delayed trip or a misconnection or a total cancellation. Now, one of the things that people I want to mention, typically when a flight is canceled due to any kind of a situation, the airline is going to offer you a credit. But if they've canceled the flight, you technically are entitled to a refund. So definitely call them if it's not offered as a refund and just offered as a credit, because you are entitled to that. And that's exactly what I did with our group on Sunday. And all of those tickets were refunded and not credited. So you kind of need to know what you're entitled to. And it really is important. So great comment there, Elizabeth. Yes.
Yeah. So a lot to think about, but a lot of places to go, and the world's at our fingertips. So now is the time to do it.
It absolutely is. Summertime's a great time. But again, as we talk about, plan that fall vacation. Think about the school breaks for next year as well. Now's that time. People are already looking at Christmas and spring break and Easter holiday next year. So plan, then you don't have to worry about it, and you know your family's going to have a wonderful time.
Okay, great advice. It sounds great to me. No matter where you're going, be safe, and remember, AAA is always here for you.
Absolutely. Before, during, and after your trip. I think you need
Happy Travel
to go.
Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.